Okay. So in project management, we have three constraints for any project that we do. We call it concept of triple constraints. Okay. Triple constraints such as scope, cost, and schedule. So these are limitations. Okay. So we don't have indefinite time, which means that we have to finish a project within definite time, within some start date and finish date. So that's time is big one of the constraint. We call it a schedule. Okay. Then cost. Cost is another big constraint. This is again, nobody has indefinite amount of money, right? We have definite amount of money which we need to make sure that we complete the project within this. So cost becomes another constraint, and scope indeed is another constraint that we have to complete the scope of work within the time and within the cost. So how does it looks like if I go to whiteboard? Just let me make sure that the whiteboard is enabled. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you see this triangle, so you see this triangle, you see the scope here, the cost here, and then the schedule here. Okay, let's see. So these are your triple constraints, like three constraints. Okay, so what can you do? Okay, for example, if the scope is fixed. Okay, let's say 100. This is a constant, right? So the cost and the time can be estimated. Okay, the cost and the time can be estimated. However, if the scope is variable, then we may have difficulty as well in determining time and cost, right? Because we don't know what is the scope. If I know the scope of work, then I can determine how much time it will need and how much course it will take. But if I don't know the scope, then what is the solution? So the solution is I can only do the amount of work which can be done in the given time and given cost. So then I can say, then let's fix the scope and cost. So then I will do what? I will say, all right, in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, if the scope is variable, then I'm going to do what? I'm going to limit the time to, let's say, 1 week or 1 month or 1 year, I don't mind, and the cost to, let's say, $100. So always we have some constraints, like nobody, even if it is an agile project or predictive project, nobody has indefinite amount of money, right? So this is the scenario, and all these three angles of the triangle actually forms the triple constraint. Okay, so this triangle actually in predictive projects it looks like this, but in agile projects it goes like this, because what is constant here? Scope is constant, but here schedule and cost are constant, and the scope is variable. Here the scope is variable. Here the cost and time are variable depending on the depending on the scope. Valeri, what are you doing? You are playing with it. You understood? Yeah, yeah, Abel and Valeri, right?
Yes, sir.
So we call it theory of constraint or triple constraints. Okay, let's go back.
I'm not able to see the second drawing.
You were seeing the drawing, right? Nobody was.
The triangle, I'm seeing only one. In Agile, the Agile triangle is I'm not seeing it.
Okay, let me make again. So you see this triangle I made. This is predictive triangle. Scope is fixed.
I don't know, maybe it's my because I'm using the phone and I'm not able to see or something.
Palas, you come back to the laptop. Abel, you are able to see, right?
Yes, although I'm using the phone, but I'm seeing.
Okay, then find where I
See the first triangle is okay, but the second triangle, the two, I'm seeing only that of
the second triangle
what
is
is happening.
inverted. The second triangle is inverted, in which scope and cost are fixed, but sorry, the schedule and cost are fixed, but scope is variable. Okay,
Okay,
schedule is
okay,
fixed, cost is fixed. However, the scope is variable. Okay.
okay.
Anyways, let's go back to the questions. Tananda, presentation, screens. Okay, so we talked about three constraints. Okay, and then what is the
Mm.
scope planning in the context of the project management? So scope has a big role. So what do we say about planning the scope? We are saying we need to know the product scope and the project scope. In order to plan what is inside our scope of work, we need to know what is the scope we are talking about? What are the features we are talking? So when we say what are the features, it means that what are the requirements, what are the functional requirements of the product we are talking about, and what are the non-functional requirements of the product we are talking. So here the concept comes as project scope and the product scope. The project scope is the work related to produce the product, and the product scope is the functions, the functionalities, and the features of the product that we are. So now we know two more concepts. One is what is project scope, the other is what is product scope. And the project scope is related to the work needed to be done to produce the product, whereas the product scope is related to the functional and non-functional requirements of the product that we have. So if you want to understand, broadly speaking, project scope is how part of the work, like how it can be done. And product scope is what part of the work, like what need to be produced is the product scope, and how it can be produced is the project scope. Very clear?
Clear, sir,
Clear.
clear.
Okay. Then we know how does the planning differ in the predictive and the agile. In predictive, we do the upfront planning. Upfront planning means we know the scope. Now we will use our planning muscles and identify how much time it is needed and how much cost is it. So we do the upfront planning to determine how much time it is needed and how much cost it is needed and which resources will do the work. So we do the upfront planning in predictive environment, whereas in agile, we do either the iterative planning or the incremental plan, right? So in the scope planning is iterative or incremental when it comes to agile. However, in predictive, the scope planning is done upfront. Very clear?
Clear, sir.
Let's go to the other. What document is typically prepared during requirement collection and predictive project? So remember, when we gather a lot of requirements, hundreds of requirements, we start to document these requirements and we call it a requirement document. Okay. And it includes all the functional requirements, whatever features we want to include in the product. And we do mention non-functional requirements as well, which are requirements related to stability, security, how many users the system can entertain at any particular time. So whenever we do a predictive project, we gather the requirements, we document them in a requirement document, and it includes functional as well as non-functional requirements. Hi, Akbar. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Great. So this is clear, guys. The BRD document, which is the requirement document. And when you collect the requirements for the project in a predictive project, you document them in a document called as requirement document. You may refer to it as a business requirement document, or you may refer to it as a functional requirement specification. In some terminologies, it is also referred to as user requirement document, which is URD, BRD, FRD, FRS, whatever. What does it have? It has features. And are those features which are functional and non-functional requirements of the product that you are making? Okay, clear? This question is clear?
Clear, sir.
Okay. What is the difference between product scope and project scope? I just explained that project scope is the how part and the product scope is the what part. So what you are producing is called as product scope, and how you will produce it, deliver it, what kind of work you need to do to produce it is the project. So this is, I made it little bit earlier. And how scope is managed in agile project. In agile project, we have a concept called product backlog. So in predictive, we were having a concept called BRD document, in which we list down all the requirements, we narrate those requirements. But in the agile, we have a concept called product backlog, and the product backlog has plenty of user stories which we have defined, and user stories are the descriptions of the features. Again, it's another way of writing requirements, which is the agile way of writing requirements. So it is no more paragraphs. It is no more theoretical. I understand user story can be lengthy as well, but unlike the business requirement document, user story is a template in which we can write clearly what feature is needed to be produced. So it is mainly used in the Agile. And in Agile, we have a concept called product backlog, which has a list of user stories, which are actually the descriptions of the features which need to be added. And we use it whenever we need to do the sprints plan. This is clear? Little bit clear? You want me to
Yes, sir.
explain?
It's clear.
Clear. Okay, so product backlog. Okay, so who is the custodian of the product backlog? Just like in predictive projects, we have a business analyst who writes the business requirement doc, and he works with the customer, and he or she mention all those requirements in a BRD. Similarly, in agile projects, the product backlog is filled up by the product owner. So the synonym or the counterpart of the business analyst in the agile is the product owner. And product owner is the custodian of the product backlog. And what is his role or her role? They make sure that the product backlog is prioritized. Now the backlog looks like what you can say like this. Do I have this annotation? Okay. So the backlog looks like a bucket. Okay. So you have a lot of stories in this bucket. Now which story to work on first, which should go up and which should go down, it is the matter of prioritization. So the product owner, his or her job is to work with the product manager, okay, to prioritize this product backlog. And the product manager works with who? Product manager works with the marketing department, and marketing department gives the insight what users or end user or the customers are thinking, what kind of products are available in the market. So this is a full chain. Insights comes from marketing to the PM, product manager assigns the features to the PO and tells the priority. Product owner works with the scrum master, and the development team works with the scrum master. So now this is the hierarchy, development team. Yeah. So now development team is with the scrum master, and the scrum master is with the product owner, and the product owner is with the product manager, and the product manager is with the marketing manager, and marketing manager is with the customer. Make sense?
Hmm.
So this is how the things get prioritized. Clear?
Right, sir.
So whose role is to prioritize the product backlog? Who can answer this question? Akbar. Whose role is to prioritize the product backlog? Product owner. Okay. I think he's busy, but he wants us to explain the concepts. Why he's making tick. I don't. Unless
Hello.
he speaks. Yeah, Akbar.
Sorry, I don't know why. Okay. So what's your question, Nitisham bhai? Repeat again.
Whose role is to prioritize the backlog?
Product owner.
Yes. Okay. Great. Great. Now, okay, so we were going through the question 7. This is clear. What is a product backlog concept? It has the user stories which are prioritized, and how the prioritization happens, I just explained. What are the user stories in the Agile project manager? So user story template is as a user, okay. So I am a user of a system. Maybe it is a CRM system, or it is any other system, or as a user for the bank online banking, okay. As a user for the online banking, I want to be able to log in. Okay, so that I can transfer, so that I can add beneficiary. So this could be one user story. Or so that I can, so another story can be so that I can send money. Okay, so that I can transfer money to the beneficiary. So there could be many other stories. So these could be the example of 2 user stories. As a user, I want to be able to log in so that I can add beneficiary, or as a user, I want to be able to log in so that I can transfer money to the beneficiary. Or there could be as a user of online banking, I want to be able to log in securely through the password. So as a user online banking, I want to be able to log in securely. So that my access is secured. So I want to make sure that it is me only who is logging in, right? So there could be many stories written in this manner. So the format is clear. The template is clear, guys. Abel, Valeri,
Yes, sir.
Akbar, you guys understand this template?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, cool. So how do you predictive and agile projects differ in handling requirements? So predictive projects write the requirements upfront. So we do the upfront requirement gathering for the whole project. So what do we mean by this? So maybe we take a month or 2 months or a week. It can take any time, but we will think about the whole product, the whole CRM, the whole portfolio, whatever we are making. Okay. So we were thinking about the full application and we want to write the whole story. What does this application about? What it is about? What does it do? What are the features? What are the functionalities for the end-to-end product? Okay. That is the way we gather the requirement for the predictive project. But agile project, we take it bit by bit. We take it iterative. We take few requirements, okay, and we create user stories and we keep the requirement gathering process as a continuous process throughout the project. Okay. So this is how we handle the requirements in predictive and agile projects. Clear? Okay.
Yes, sir.
What are the functional and non-functional requirements in the projects? So the functional requirements are related to the features and the behaviors of the software. So whatever behavioral, like what you want system to do is the functional requirements. Like you want the system to process payment, you want the system to withdraw cash, you want the system to do something, right, for you. So that is what functional requirements, functionality that the system can offer you. But non-functional requirements are related to the quality of the product, the security of the product, how many concurrent users the system can entertain at the same time. If it is an online application, what is this, how much stability it offers? Many a times we have systems which are down, right? Whenever you go to a bank or any other airline agency, you understand that system is down. So why the system is down? Because so many people, they try to log in at the same time, and many systems have issues with the scalability and they become down. They can't bear the pressure of so many people asking for the service, right? So they can't serve so many people at the same time. So this comes to these non-functional requirements of a system. So when I as a user expect, I mean, when I'm as a user giving you the requirements, I should also give very clear expectation that how many concurrent users I am expecting, which will be using this application at the same time, so that the scalability can be planned and the response time can be planned, because sometimes there is a response but there is a delayed response. So that lag or that delayed response is also counterproductive and the customers don't like the delay, right? So we have to make sure that we capture the functional requirements as well as non-functional requirements when we get the requirements. Make sense? Clear? And
Yes, sir.
is also one of the. Any question? Yes? No question?
No, no.
Okay, what is the difference between project requirement and the business requirement? So now this is a tricky question, right? So as I said, that project requirements are related to management of the project, any kind of scope gathering, scheduling, any kind of determining the resources needed for the project, managing the critical path. So the project related work is related to project requirements, right? And also the project related work means the development, the design work, the DevOps work, the launch work, all these kind of work needed to make sure that the product is delivered, right? And whatever goes inside the product, like the features and the functionalities, these comes from the business. Like business will tell you how to run the business. They don't care how you will produce this application. You will use which technology stack, you will host the application locally or on the cloud. These are not the concerns of the business. The business means that they only know the business, how they run the business, how they sell the product. So they will tell you, I want to be able to sell the product through online. Now it's your part that you understand that how technology will fulfill the business requirements, right? The technology architecture needed to produce that business architecture. You need to make sure that you do it. Who is not muted? Valeri, you are on not muted. There is a background noise, Valeri. Okay, last but not least, how are the transition requirements related in the project? So now transition requirement means that you already have a system which is ready. Now what's remaining is you will hand over the system to the operation. So you need to make sure that you create the training manual, you create the user manual, you create the configuration manual, you make sure that you give the training of the new system to the end users. Make sense? We are introducing a new
Yeah.
service, so you should have a service catalog. If you are introducing a new product, you should have a product catalog. What are the features of this product? What how to use this system so that the operational people can use the system on daily basis. So user manual, training manual, operational guides, all these things you need to create. Okay, so I think we are okay. So far, so good. Scheduling is the another topic we will touch later on. So scope is discussed. Very important concepts are discussed in this lecture. You go back, you go through, understand each of these concepts in bit more detail, because remember, stakeholders and the scope and the change management and the configuration management, these are key topics of your PMP exam. Although this may look very small, very to the point, but you need to understand these concepts so that you should be able to solve the exam questions. Okay, any questions from
Okay, sir.
you want to see me? No questions, Abil? Valeri,
No question.
Akbar, Kamar, I saw Kamar and then he left, I think. Akbar.
Yeah,
Uh,
Kamar is not, but I'm clear on this scope
okay, good.
FAQs.
You're welcome, guys.
Thank you.